Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the English Right Now podcast. And in this episode, we're diving into famous British TV catchphrases, the iconic lines that have become part of everyday speech and have shaped British pop culture. And joining me for this lesson, we're going to teach you at least 10 pieces of real related vocabulary. We say at least 10 because it is a real conversation with my dear friend Rob. Hello, Rob.
Hello, Roy. I can't think of another way of saying it, really, but hello.
I thought you were going to go with a pop reference straight off the bat, but you didn't. I thought you were going to go, nice to see you.
To see you, nice. There's a great
Thank goodness
catchphrase.
I was really worried you weren't going to finish that then. So, yeah, today, how are you today before we get into this?
Very good, thanks. And chosen a classic mug as well. Do you like my mug there?
Oh, I do. Lovely.
Yeah, Charles and Diana.
What year was that? Was that 1980?
81, wasn't it, I think?
81 was it?
Was their wedding a long time ago.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, so well, you've got the mug. I've got the classic, the cow,
Highland cow, great.
Highland cattle on the front. But today we're talking about the famous lines that have not, so we can think about films. If I say I'll be back, instantly know what film I'm talking about. Obviously, that's not a British telly reference, but you instantly know that's the Terminator. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger. You instantly know that. And there are some phrases and expressions, some catchphrases that have come from TV that have not only captured the imagination of people, they've really kind of integrated into everyday life.
That's the interesting thing, isn't it? They're almost like idioms, aren't they? They're sort of,
Yes.
Phrases, sayings that are just quoting people from TV. Yeah. I also thinking actually away from TV, I was thinking of pantomime, the traditional Christmas pantomime. Is full of catchphrases, things like, it's behind you. Oh no, it isn't. Oh yes, it is. All those lines that you automatically say, don't you?
Spoiler alert! I think we need to do a pantomime issue.
Yes,
yes. I think that's a brilliant idea. We haven't thought of that yet, and that's brilliant. So yeah, but you're right. They've become so ingrained, almost in our psyche, that it's hard not to respond. So right at the start, I said, nice to see you. And you said,
to see you, nice.
Who was that? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was Bruce Forsyth, who's no longer with us. But he used to present a Saturday evening game show, wasn't it? Was that the Generation Game it came from? Or just generally in all his shows? I don't know.
I think he used it. I think he did use it on the Generation Game, which was I didn't really watch it, to be honest. It was a little bit when I was a bit too young. I think I watched it towards the end, but he also did it on Strictly Come Dancing as well, I think, when he presented that or whatever. Yeah. I think he did, because it was his catchphrase, and catchphrase is one of our pieces of vocabulary. It's a memorable phrase repeated by either a character or a presenter. So it could come from a character in a TV show, or it could come from a presenter. And Bruce Forsyth was a presenter. And a presenter is also a key piece of vocabulary. We're getting through them all today. It's a person who hosts a TV or radio program. So it's the guy at the start that introduces it. And, they're not being a character, well, not always, but quite commonly you see game show presenters and they have their own catchphrase. And his was nice to see you, nice. And it's classic. Well, when we talk about British catchphrases, what comes to mind?
Well, a lot of comedy shows have catchphrases. That's what makes the character so funny, because they do a sketch, like a short kind of act, and then you're waiting for that one line, that one piece of vocabulary or that one line to come out in the sketch that you're all waiting for. When it comes out, it's hysterical. It's very funny. So things like, there was a series called Little Britain on several years ago. Lots of different, characters, lots of different sketches. And each character had a catchphrase. One like, computer says no. Every time, you're going to get some help in an office or a bank, and the person behind the computer would say, computer says no, means, it doesn't work. Can't be bothered. Yeah.
Because in the actual, it was like a punchline, wasn't it? And this is a key piece of vocabulary. Of the funny ending of a joke. It's like the key line in a comedic moment. So in terms of Little Britain, it was this really useless kind of secretary and people would be asking, "Oh, can you?" Or receptionist, I think it was, and they'd be asking, "Oh, can you help me?" They go, "Yeah." Computer says no, and it was like it's not happening, and it was just this awkward representation of secretary and receptionist being difficult. And interestingly enough, I think that one really caught the imagination of people. And even though Little Britain was 20 years old,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
still say it when they're having technological issues. Like if they're like, "Oh God, computer says no,"
Mm,
it's still there in the public sort of mindset. This
mm,
idea that the computer's not working. It's weird, isn't it? Even
yeah,
the phone's not. Oh no, computer says no. It's like this technological failure, which is
yeah,
different to what it was really.
yeah, yeah. I wonder why those catchphrases last such a long time. Is it because it's a good catchphrase? Is it because we've heard it so many times you can't get it out of your head?
I
Maybe it's that.
Interestingly, I think repetition plays a huge part because I think if it gets bombarded, and I think sometimes it can be just such a short. They tend to be quite short lines, but it tends to be the idea of it being repeated over and over again, which is a catchphrase. I mean, unlike "I'll be back" in the Terminator, which I think he only says once, that caught the imagination, probably because he doesn't speak much in that
Mm,
film.
mm.
But I think generally, yeah, I think repetition is a lot. I mean, let's talk about arguably Britain's greatest or most famous spy. And it's a bit away from television, it's film. Who am I thinking of?
It's got to be James Bond, isn't it? Double O
But
Seven.
what is his catchphrase?
Well, he has he has a few, doesn't he? With drinks, it's "I like it shaken, not stirred" when he has his
Yep.
martini. Um, the
But how
villains
does he
always go,
introduce himself?
"My name is Bond, James Bond."
Yes.
To
Isn't
clarify
it
his
just
name.
the name's Bond, James Bond. And realistically, if you ever met somebody called Mr. Bond, you'd go, James Bond. You'd have to say it. And this one doesn't get everybody knows it. It's not used in a kind of social way, realistically, but everybody knows it. It's instant. If you say, "Oh, Bond," "Oh, James Bond," people know. And it's actually an example of what linguists call diacope or diacope, which is basically repetition of a word within an expression. And it's quite common. For example, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? I think that's what they call an extended uh, version of that. And also, like in Aliens, it's game over, man. It's game over. And it became such a small line, but it became so famous. But this idea of repetition of the same word within a phrase
Mm.
really gets stuck in your head, and maybe that's the same idea of repetition in general. So yeah, I mean that's moving away from the telly. Telly, of course, is British slang for the TV or television.
Yes. Yes.
But let's go back to TV. What can
Mm.
you think of?
Well, I say lots. I think a lot of the catchphrases come from comedy shows.
Yeah,
Um, because they're funny, of course. So
yeah,
I mentioned Little Britain. The Office was another, classic TV show, which has also been used. The format has been used around the world, different versions of it. But the British Office was always a good one. Can you
yeah.
think of any catchphrases from The Office?
I'll be honest, no. And that's a really intriguing thing. I'm not sure if did they have catchphrases in the office, or was that just generally funny?
Yeah, actually,
Because
maybe you're right. Maybe not. In fact, can I change my answer?
yeah,
I
but
think
no,
it's.
no, actually, I think that's really interesting because you've raised an interesting point because some comedies they don't have catchphrases, they don't rely on catchphrases, and others sometimes the expression it can become a bit outdated, and that's
Mm,
something we were talking about before we started recording that some of our references may be a bit outdated. Outdated is a key piece of vocabulary, no longer fashionable or commonly used. So some of these references, like computer says no, even though it's quite old, it's still in the current in the current mindset. But maybe the office had some, maybe not. But there's a few. For example, only fools and horses, which was
oh,
classic.
yeah.
Only fools and horses, arguably. Um, what I mean, it was what 1970s maybe. 70s, 80s?
Maybe it ran for a long time. Certainly ran
Yeah.
for a long time. Very popular sitcom, wasn't it? And are you
L
thinking of the expression, for example, "lovely jubbly"?
Yes, Lovely
One of
Jubbly.
them.
And interesting, Lovely Jubbly is like, "Oh, it's lovely, lovely Jubbly." So the main character was a guy called Del Boy, who was a bit of a market trader, a bit of a lad, who's very, a bit like you. And and he used to say these kind of things. He'd use a bit of French to sound like intelligent. He's like, mange tu, mon frère, and all this sort of thing. And I think like Lovely Jubbly now, I think if you said Lovely Jubbly, it's not as it's getting to the point of being a bit outdated. Because obviously Only Fools and Horses stopped quite a long time ago.
Mm.
And probably the kids these days wouldn't get it as much.
Yes, it can sort of age you, can't it? If you keep coming out
Yeah.
with an expression, it's like when you say, "Oh, it's cool." That's something's really cool. Cool is
Yeah.
a bit of a word that's a bit out of date now, and
I quite like that. I still use that word. Does
yeah,
that mean I'm
yeah.
outdated? I'm
My
out of
kids,
date. I'm out of time.
my kids don't use it. Let's put it that way. They wouldn't say
What,
"cool." There'd be other
do they
words they
not?
use.
But I think one phrase that's lasted from Only Fools and Horses, there's a lot like Rodney, you plonker, which he always used to talk about his brother. But I think the one that's stuck around that people will finish for you, and that's a key thing as well. You'll say something, and a person will finish it. This time next year, Rob.
We'll be millionaires. Well, he says it with his funny accent, but
Time
millionaires.
next year, bruv, we'll be millionaires. And he does, and that is something that everybody sort of says. Like,
Mm,
when somebody sort of starts talking about, oh, this time next year, and then somebody will finish it, even if that's not the point of the conversation. You may be
yeah,
talking about moving home. Oh, this time next year, oh, we'll be millionaires. And it's very, very quotable, isn't it?
definitely, definitely.
And
Another series I was thinking of. I'm again showing my age here, but Monty Python, back from
yes,
the 70s. I mean, they had a lot of catchphrases. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. There's one of they kept saying.
I said this to Luciana the other day, and then she just so Luciana's my wife. She's from Brazil, and she gets a lot of these references, partially because she's got a lot of English friends of our sort of age, but also because she's kind of invested in watching British TV, which I would say definitely if you're trying to live within a culture, you need to embrace their television and they're certainly their sitcoms. Sitcoms are a comedy based on everyday situations. So Only Fools and Horses is a classic British sitcom, a comedy TV series based on everyday situation, like The Office.
Hmm.
Office technically, a sitcom. Um, but possibly somebody's going to argue with me. It's technically a mockumentary, wasn't it? I think sort
Hmm.
of it was filmed in a style of a fake documentary. Um, but she gets a lot of these references, but that one she didn't. It was probably a bit before her frame of reference because it wasn't from a film, was it? Or it might have been Meaning of Life, maybe.
Maybe I thought it was a sketch. They were doing something, and then this kind of the Spanish Inquisition would arrive in the scene and go, "Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition."
This,
Really
I love it.
stupid.
I mean, I love Monty Python, but I think it's very much. It's not as watched these days. I think,
No, no.
which is sad. But it's still very much there. I mean, something that was massive in the 90s. I don't believe it. I'm
Yeah.
trying to.
What was
Nobody
his
would probably
name?
get that now. Victor Meldrew.
Victor Meldrew, that's right. A miserable old guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's
Always
actually
doing.
apparently a really lovely man. And
Mm,
he played this character called Victor Meldrew. The actor's name was Richard Wilson, or he is Richard Wilson, and he's apparently a really warm, happy guy. But he played this miserable old man who
mm,
was always moaning, and he wasn't as old as the character was. He was, he really kind of played it well. And he used to say, "I don't believe it. I don't bloody believe it." When something went wrong, he'd be complaining. And that was a kind of really common one. It was
mm.
iconic.
Yeah,
Iconic means widely recognized and culturally significant. A lot of Del Boy's lines and expressions are iconic in
yeah,
British television.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
weird, but that one's gone. I think.
yeah. Another series, again, going back in time now, The Fast Show. That was a
Mm.
sketch show full of, you know, different characters, different sketches. And one of them was when some guy, and he said inappropriate things, and then he'd end it by going, "I'll get my coat." I'll get my
I,
coat, which basically
I
means
remember.
time for me to go.
Yeah, the Fast Show was brilliant, wasn't it? It had a lot of those sort of Harry Enfield, was it, with
Mm.
Only Me? The
Yes, that's
most
right. Yeah.
annoying. He played a really annoying character. Only me.
Only me.
And it's like, oh, but you knew that kind of person. A sketch show is an interesting one because a sketch
Mm,
show isn't like it doesn't have a through narrative, a through story. It's individual kind of comedic jokes, but sometimes they're repeated.
mm,
They have the same characters, but different sketches. Little Britain was an example of that.
yeah.
So I mean, these things are really iconic, but they tend to get stuck in your head because they are sort of recurring catchphrases, and recurring means happening again and again,
Mm.
appearing repeatedly in a show. I'm going to give you a few more, and you can
Oh,
tell me whether you think they're outdated. You might not
okay.
even get the references. You can tell me if they're outdated or not. Don't panic.
Oh, that's an old one. Yes, that's from again another a classic sitcom, British sitcom, Dad's Army, and
Yes,
yeah, and it was what was his name? I can't remember the name of the character now.
Lance Corporal Jones.
Corporal Jones. And when everything went wrong, he would say, "Don't panic, don't panic."
Don't panic, Mr. Mannering. Don't
Don't panic.
panic. Yeah, it's that one. I don't know if that's because that one is really weird because that's really old compared
Mm.
to some of the series we talk about on this list, and still people say that. Still people say, "Don't panic, don't panic." They put the voice on. We're talking what 60 years ago that was on
Probably,
television.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, they repeated it at the TV. They repeated it on TV for years and years and years. So yeah.
my father always says oh god, they're repeating it again. It's on again. They'll wear the film out. But yeah, it's been on a lot. I mean, that one I would say, ironically, I don't think it is outdated. I think it's still quite,
Mm.
it's still quite there. What about I have a cunning plan?
Ah, again, fantastic
Yeah.
sitcom. Blackadder. It was Blackadder, wasn't it?
Yes. Yes. Tony Robinson playing Baldrick,
Mm.
and he was like this sort of subservient. Usually played like a servant or a kind of character, and and when the oh no, was it yeah Tony Robinson said he used to say, "I have a cunning plan, my lord," and he would give this kind of ridiculous idea usually.
Yes.
I think did even Rowan Atkinson say that as well? "I have a cunning plan." I think it might have done, but
Yeah.
it was famous for that. But I would say Blackadder is one of the things I always refer to, say students should watch because I think it's brilliant.
Mm.
But I don't think it's as in the current mindset as it should be. And therefore, I would say this probably is a little bit outdated. Our age group may get the reference, younger people, not so much.
You're saying that hasn't stood the test of time, an expression we
Oh,
say.
great expression. Would you like to tell us what that means if
And
something doesn't stand the
if
test of
something does stand the test of time, it lasts a long time. It
Yeah,
goes on forever. If it doesn't stand the test of time, then clearly it's not something that we take into the future and use forever. It has a place in its own time, but it doesn't carry on forever. Yeah.
absolutely. And these are all parts of great. These are all parts of pop sort of pop culture. We can call them pop culture. It's like almost signaling to other people around it that we get it and we're in on the joke and we like the same things. And if you say something like "I have a cunning plan," I instantly know you like Blackadder, and I'm going to be like, "Oh." And if I don't get the reference or I don't like it, I'm not going to respond. So
No.
it's almost like signaling using pop culture. Of course, pop culture uh, is talking about modern things that are popular within culture, modern popular culture, especially as spread through the media. So you hear a lot of them on things, but it's. I saw one recently, and it was Greg Davies talking to Taylor Lautner. I think those are their names,
Right.
and they were both in the TV show Cuckoo, which was absolutely
Right.
brilliant.
Mm.
And he was testing Taylor Lautner. I think he's either from Canada or America. He's not from the UK. He was testing him on British cultural things, and he said, "To me," and 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 he didn't know what to say. He was like,
To you, isn't it? It's to
"To
you.
me, yeah, to me, to you." Um, the Chuckle Brothers,
Good show.
absolutely. kids television from the what 90s, 80s, 90s, 80s
Probably, yeah,
probably.
yeah, yeah.
And it was two brothers, and they used to sort of carry things and want to say, "To me, to you, to me," and it just got stuck in your head. Again, I think that's an example of diacopy with
Mhm.
this kind of repetition: "To me, to you." Maybe to an extent, that got stuck. Well, do you know any more recent ones? We're
Well,
talking
it's
about very
interesting.
much.
Yeah, we're talking. We're going back in time all the time, aren't we? Here we're looking
Yeah,
at programs from the past. What are modern day catchphrases? I suppose obviously there are some, but the fact that the good ones take time to be used. You know what I mean? They
they
carry on.
marinate.
They marinate before they actually
They're
become
like
a
a fine
catchphrase.
wine, Rob.
Yes, like us, like us. Um,
I've
so
corked, my
a
friend.
modern day catchphrase hasn't had time to catch on, I suppose you could argue. But I know there's a very popular TV show here and elsewhere, Traitors, of course,
Yeah.
the Traitors. And so from there, these words, a traitor, of course, and a faithful, they've developed, haven't they? So people now say, "I'm
Yeah.
a faithful." Even politicians, I heard using it the other
God.
day. I'm a faithful, you know.
See, do you watch this? Do you watch Traitors?
I've grazed on it. I've watched it, but I haven't kind of been passionately following it.
Grazed on it like a Highland cow, Rob.
Yes, just nibbled on it a bit.
Grazing.
Yeah,
I've not watched any of it, so the references would be completely lost on me. So instantly, if you love it and you signal to me, I would not get it, and then you go, "Well, okay, he doesn't get it."
yeah.
So it's fascinating, but a lot of these, as you say, as you said many times, I mean, probably the one my wife quotes the most, and people of sort of that generation, my age, and maybe a bit younger. Friend, friend, you got friend. Do you know this reference?
No, you see, you've lost me now.
See, okay, In-Betweeners. So
Ah,
did you ever
yes,
watch the
another show.
In-Betweeners?
Well, again, I didn't watch every one, but I'm very familiar with In
A
Betweeners. Yeah.
little bit a little bit bawdy, a little bit rude. Great
Mm,
example of British school system, like the kind of teenage coming of age, all these kind of boys trying to get drinking for the first time, trying to
girlfriend.
meet a girl for the first
Yeah.
time, all this kind of thing. And one of them's like, "Yeah, no, he's my friend," and all the other boys go, "Friend, friend, oh, you got a friend,"
Okay.
and they're
Okay.
teasing him. And instantly, if I say to my wife, "Oh, I'm just going out with a friend," friend, friend, she'll do that at me, and it's brilliant that she gets that reference. But there are a lot of things that we could add to this. A lot of these, uh, I think the way we watch TV has kind of changed a bit,
Mm,
because now these days we can actually binge watch
yes.
TV on Netflix and kind of the likes. Binge watch is where you watch multiple episodes in one sitting. So you can binge watch Blackadder or anything
Mm.
like that. But back in the day, which
We
is
had to
something my
wait.
wife said.
We had to
So
wait.
my wife said the other day, back in the day is like a British catchphrase without being from TV, because for some reason we say back in the day and then people will go back in the day. But it just basically means in better times. Um, we used to have to wait for a week, and I think those phrases got into our heads, and then we'd quote them because we were still thinking, "Oh, what's happening next?" And I can't think of anything really quotable from
Mm,
maybe there are. Maybe it's just my generation that's gone out, but yeah, a
yeah.
lot of them though relied on comedic timing. That's something we need
Of
to
course.
say.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
rhythm and delivery that made it funny.
Mm. Sometimes there'd be
So
little bit a pause before that line was delivered.
yeah,
And that anticipation of he's about to say this catchphrase, and you're
yeah.
kind of waiting for it is very funny.
I mean, this. I mean, there are so many that we could actually talk about. I'm going to throw a few more out before we end today. But these are all cultural references, a phrase or idea understood within a particular culture. British catchphrases are cultural references, and it will help people with British humor. Because if you bump into something, like you're walking along and you bump into something, I could say, "Should have gone to Specsavers."
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's a reference to an advert.
Yeah.
Um, I
Well,
mean, I'll give
again,
you one. It's which Specsavers do glasses, don't they? So the
yeah.
the advert that they base it on is somebody making a mistake because they can't see properly because they've got poor vision,
Yes.
and like And then
So
they go, should
therefore,
have
they
gone
should have
Specsavers.
they should have gone to the opticians. This called
Yeah.
Specsavers to get their glasses done. I mean, the best advertising campaigns, again, I think, is repetition with a catchphrase. I think the ones you remember the most.
Have a break.
Have a Kit Kat. Yeah, exactly.
Chocolate bar. I can't remember the last time I had a Kit Kat though. I might go and get one today now.
What about I'm loving it?
Oh,
I'm loving
yeah.
it.
A lot of students ask me, is the grammar bad there? Because it shouldn't
Yeah.
be. It should be. I love it, but loving is kind of a slang way, an informal way of saying I'm enjoying it.
Hmm.
Not
So
not
that's
the best, but makes
that's
sense.
McDonald's. McDonald's, that one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Some of them though, I think, like we said about Computer Says No, I'm gonna do one. See if you get this reference. I've started.
So I'll finish. Good.
Brilliant. Remember that's from?
Yeah, so that is from an intellectual quiz show on the BBC called Mastermind, isn't it?
Yes.
And shall I explain why? But when
Go on.
they'll have a contestant who will answer a load of questions in 2 minutes. And when your 2 minutes is up, they play a little buzzer, don't they? Beep, beep, beep.
Yep.
Your time is up. But if the quiz master has already started asking the question, he's already started, so therefore he can finish. And his line is, I've started, so I'll finish. Yeah.
And we do this in normal life. If you interrupt me, I'll go, I've started, so I'll finish. As a joke, and it's kind of a cultural reference humorously to say, hang on a minute, I was speaking, Rob. Or, but we do need to say that some of them are timeless, some of them are still around. Others, I think one of the most quotable TV series I can think of was Alan Partridge.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't yeah, but you don't hear people sort of quote it as much now. Everybody would get the reference, but you don't hear many people going aha. My favorite, I mean, when we worked working for we worked with a guy called Dan. And in Alan Partridge, he sees a guy he knows called Dan, doesn't he, in the car park. I don't know if you know this. And he goes, Dan, 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 and he just keeps screaming over and over again. And we worked with a guy called Dan, and I used to do that to him, but only because his name was Dan, and I knew he got the reference. But yeah, not common ones.
What is embarrassing, is sometimes you do a catchphrase and the room remains silent and nobody gets what you're on about. You start going, Dan, Dan, Dan. Yeah, what?
You just sound weird, don't you? That's the problem.
What other point? I was going to mention one other point about. It'd be interesting to know which British catchphrases are popular, are still known around the world. Because sometimes when I go on holiday to another country and you go to a marketplace, and the guy on the market stall will go, lovely jubbly, to try and be a bit, I don't know, connect with you because you're British, they'll come out with a British catchphrase.
And I must admit, sometimes you don't get them. You're like, what is that? What is that a reference to? Is this from my culture? Sometimes you don't get them because they have watched something. And it's weird, isn't it? Some certain things travel. So, for example, I would argue that Blackadder, I prefer Blackadder to Mr. Bean. But Mr. Bean is exceptionally popular in a lot of cultures because of his physical. Mr. Bean is brilliant, but no catchphrase because he doesn't. Oh, Teddy, he doesn't really speak. But Blackadder arguably was a lot better, but better in my opinion. Oh, Betty, that's one you wouldn't hear anymore. You dirty old man as well. So, oh, Betty was from Frank Spencer, or Some Mothers Do Have Them. Some mothers do have them.
Do you remember that one used to be, you are awful, but I like you.
But I like it. Yeah, what's that? I don't even know what that's from.
The Dick Emery Show. Again, we're talking hundreds of years ago.
Yeah. Height of the Victorian era there, where you were in your youth. But you're right. You don't get these. Yeah, he didn't like that one. I can see on his. But no, I mean back in our day. But I always wondered, did the Victorians also have these kind of popular reference quotes from? Obviously, it wouldn't be from the telly. They weren't watching Steptoe and Son or Doctor Who, but were they watching? Were they reading books and everybody was kind of quoting down the rabbit hole? Oh, because a lot of idioms did come from literature. So I wonder if that's how that they sort of, did everybody sort of quote
catchphrases are about repetition, aren't they? And hearing them again and again. And I guess if you're reading a catchphrase in a book, you're not reading it again and again or hearing it. Do you need to hear it or read a catchphrase? That's the other
I
thing.
don't know what triggers. That's a linguistic question, isn't it? So it's a really deep question. I wonder if there are triggers. Yeah, and I wonder if certain quotes from books, because there are iconic lines from books. I mean, I think that could be another future podcast as well. The most iconic literature opening lines. It was the best of times. Da, 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 da. Did people just go around quoting it?
Yeah.
Did they go around quoting it? And did it catch on in the public psyche to the point where everyone brilliant? And then sometimes they got a bit misquoted, didn't they? Because there's one, I can't remember. There's a Sherlock Holmes quote that isn't actually ever really written in the book, and everybody thinks everybody sort of says, "Oh, Sherlock said that," but he didn't. Did everybody start saying, "Call me Ishmael" when Moby Dick came out? Did he go down a shop? What's your name? Well, you can call me Ishmael. Back in Victorian, I don't know when Moby Dick came out. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Does it need to be repeated in our faces and our, do we need to see and hear it? Or is it just literally because these iconic lines that we still know from literature, they came from somewhere. Obviously the source material, but the fact that they are stuck in the public psyche still must be due to repetition. But
Okay.
I wish I had an answer to that one. I could have said, here's one I made earlier.
Good one for kids TV. Yes.
Blue Peter.
Blue
Peter.
Do you remember the other one? And there's a prize for all those we show. Do you remember that one? No, clearly not.
No. I watched a lot of Blue Peter as a kid, but I watched it roughly around the times of Anthea Turner. But yeah, no, I think that's I mean, it's good, but it's not right. Remember that one?
No.
Roy Walker catchphrase.
Yes.
It's good, but it's not right. It's good every time. Every time you say it's good, but it's not right. It's good, but it's not right.
Say what you see. Say what you see.
Say what you see. Mr. Chips is up there. What is Mr. Chips doing? Oh gosh. And that was from like a TV. They tried to remake it, but it didn't have the same magic. It didn't have Roy Walker. But on that bombshell.
Good one.
Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear used to end the thing. And on that bombshell, on that major news. If you want to support this podcast, you can always buy a cup of tea for us, or Rob, or for me. Down in the comments, there's a link down there. And of course, a couple of things have been mentioned today in this lesson. Please do let us know your favorite British cultural reference. And also, Rob said we're like bottles of wine. Maybe you could tell us what type of wine we're like. I think I'm personally like vinegar. But from me today, I just want to say it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me. No, him.
It's good night from him, isn't it? It's good night from me and it's good night from him. The two Ronnies.
Yes.
Good night from me. And then the other one say, and it's good night from him. Yeah, brilliant ending. But thank you very much for listening to us today. Rob, thank you very much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, it's been nice to see you.
Bearded.
Nice.
To see you nice. Nice to see you nice. Didn't he used to say good game as well?
Oh yeah, he said good game. Yeah.
God, these are all coming back. Goodness me, and we haven't even talked about club card accepted. But anyway, on that note, on that bombshell, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you. You're welcome. See you next time.
Bye.